Okay guys, I'm going to go a complete run through of this system now before I do my video on the ID card scam that's basically going on at the moment. I've been doing a fair bit of research over the last week on all this whole subject. It's obviously now 9-10 days since the famous announcement, and I'm going to run through the system to make sure everything is working. So I'm going to show you a little video on Keir Starmer's little video, in fact, that he did. This is from Sky News. It cuts in at 12 minutes or 13 minutes from the start of this video, and I'm just going to play this to you now. So I'm just going to show this up on here. Put myself to the side. I want you to just listen to this for a moment.
Now, you will all have issues in your own countries, but in Britain, it's illegal migration. And I suspect that may be the same in a number of other countries. For too many years, it's been too easy for people to come here, slip into the shadow economy, and remain here illegally. Because, frankly, we've been squeamish about saying things that are clearly true. It's not just that it's not compassionate left-wing politics to rely on labour that exploits foreign workers and undercuts fair wages, but the simple fact that every nation needs to have control over its borders. We do need to know who is in our country. Our immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. Otherwise, it undermines trust. Undermines people's faith that we're on their side, and their belief that the state can and will work for them. And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, is our democratic government dictating to us, to you and me, British citizens, people that lived here our entire lives, people that have paid into the tax system. We've paid VAT, we paid income tax, we paid every other tax going on fuel and insurance, everything else we pay taxes on. Now, our government telling us that they will not allow you and me to work unless we have their approved ID system. Now, they're blaming this on immigration, as you just heard him talking there. No, and it's absolute nonsensical that this is going to sort out any kind of immigration issues whatsoever. You know, we already know in France, Germany and Spain they have, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, respectively, in their countries of illegal immigrants, even though all of those countries have ID cards already. We already know in this country we probably have close to 1 million, maybe more than 1 million illegal immigrants in this country. I want to define illegal immigrants as people that are here, that have made small boat crossings, that are here, that have made their journey, and they're not allowed to be in the country, they're not supposed to be in the country. And they're already working in the illegal economy. They're already working in Turkish barber shops. They're already working as delivery drivers. They're already working in car washes. Up and down the country, absolutely everywhere, to be able to, getting paid cash in hand. We shall come back to that in a minute. But they're already working in this country. They're already in this country, and no one knows where they are. No one knows what they're doing. And ID cards aren't going to stop that. They already have e-visas for immigrants in the United Kingdom that have come through the official routes, and and those people have gone through, they've paid their money, they're doing the courses, they're doing the things they have to do to remain in the United Kingdom. But illegal immigrants have bypassed all of that. They come over on their boats, they've come over formerly on lorries, they've come over and they're talking about people maybe have come for a holiday and overstayed their visa, and they've disappeared into the system somewhere, or out of the system somewhere, more to the point. But I want to talk more specifically today about the three-pronged attack on your freedom. Now, we obviously heard Keir Starmer there talking about ID cards. and I will come back to it in a minute. But I do want to first of all, just mention this petition that's up on here. This petition that's going up by the minute. This petition started at 100,000 or so last Friday evening, and by Monday, Tuesday, it was up over 2 million, and it's climbing steadily towards 3 million now. 2.8 million at the time of writing. And the government have done a response to this, and I'll be covering some of this response in a moment. First of all, I'm just checking the systems and checking everything's working okay. And I will go through the response to the ID in a minute. But the three prongs are the ID cards, which is already well talked about. Then we're going to come on here to the OneGov login system, using the one login. And this is ID cards by the back door. Now, I've been doing some research into this recently, and I've been looking at what's going on here and how this, all around the world, they're introducing these one ID systems to log into government services to make your life more convenient, to make things simpler for you, to improve your life. We can access all of government services with only a single login. Now, at the moment in the UK, we have Government Gateway, we have different logins for different services all over the place. And on here, it says at the moment, you can only access one login to access some government services. So let's have a quick look at what these government services are. So it does not work with all government services yet, for example, universal credit. So if we look at the government services that one login is already working with, there's a big list down here. There are 47 results for this. You see, everything from gender recognition certificates, export certificates, import licenses, qualified teacher status. So to be qualified teacher, you have to sign in with one login. To become a registered social worker, you also have to use one login. Apprenticeship providers and assessment register. So if you're providing apprenticeships, you have to also use one login. To cancel a lost or stolen passport. Child welfare officers for Wales, child welfare officers for Wales and providers, and for parents and guardians. Please note that for parents and guardians. So we're going to come back to children in just a moment. Claiming compensation for victim of violent crime, connectivity from driving with a medical condition, driver and vehicle account, find a UK market, and it goes on and on and on and on and on, all the way down this list. These are already the things that the government is making you, or trying to make you use the one ID system for. Now, I have had a quick look into this as well. I'm going to go back to the previous page on here for a moment. And so that's the services you can use it with. Let's just find the right page here. No, I've gone back too far. Okay. There's a different link I'm trying to show you. Oh, it's up the top here, so I've just missed it. Okay, so I want to go to proving your identity with the GovUK one login. We'll have a quick look at this page here. Okay, so to prove your identity with the Government UK login, there are three different methods of doing this. The first is with the one login app on your phone. So this app, to prove your ID for the app, you'll need the UK photo driving licence, your existing ID in other words. A UK passport, again your existing ID. A non-UK passport with a biometric chip, which a lot of European and other countries do have now. Again, UK biometric residence permit, again that's already in the system. So all these things here are already IDs that are perfectly usable, perfectly sufficient to prove who you are. But you need these then, ironically, to log into the app. So you'll also need to have access to a phone with a working camera. It must be using an iPhone, it must be running like 15 or higher, an iPhone 6 or 7 body bar. For an Android device, for example, it must be running Android 10 or higher. But let's just scroll down to the further ones. So if you can also do it online. You'll have to answer some security questions about things like your mobile phone contract, any bank accounts, credit cards, loans or mortgages you have. Well, just think about that for a minute. Just to access this one login service, you are having to give details, and I'm going to repeat that, on your mobile phone contract, any bank accounts you have, any credit cards you have, any loans you have, any mortgages you may have. Now I'm going to assume this is also required for the app login as well. I haven't checked that out, but I did not want to sign up for it for obvious reasons. And again, then asking for a passport, a driving licence, a photo card, and a current bank or building society account. Okay, so already we can see here it's gathering a huge amount of information just to make it convenient to log into government services. Alternatively, you can go to the post office, and at the post office you'll enter the details from your photo ID on gov.uk. So again, I'm going to assume here that you go into the post office. They are going to log you into the system. They'll scan your photo ID and take a photo of you. What are the post office doing with this data? I don't know that. They're holding onto that data. What are they doing with it apart from giving it to the government? You'll get an email about this as a result of your identity check. Okay, so this, again, to me is a problem. You're getting an email. What if you're an elderly person without an email address? What if you're a homeless person? What if you don't have access to email? What if you don't have a smartphone? There's a whole raft of people that are not connected to the technology and emails and to the internet even properly, don't want to be, can't be, too old, too infirm, whatever it may be. But they're going to send an email, usually on the day of going to the post office. How will you know? How will you know if you don't have an email account? How will you know if you're a homeless person or you're some other person without an email address? How will you know? And again, you're going to need your UK passport, non-UK passport, photo card, driving licence, etc, etc, etc. You get the message. So everything you're already using for ID, they want you to bring that. They're going to create a digitised version for an app on your phone. Now, speaking of the app on your phone, I've had various reports from various people that, especially with iPhone users, that they are suddenly finding apps appearing on their phone with the Gov ID check apps on your phone. Excuse me. And so, I've had a quick look. I use Android myself, but I'm going to swing you over here for a minute. And this is just showing you the apps that are available for Android at the moment. There's this one down here, this Gov ID check one that people are talking about appearing on their phone. They've got one login service here. You'll notice how they've also got the brand newly updated Gov UK logo, which has cost £460,000 to move a dot and put it on a blue background. So that's cost £460,000 to change that from black to blue and change the dot to green. Would be great spending there, guys. But so I'm going to have a quick look on this. I've had a quick look on the app already on here. And I want to have a look at the reviews for this. So again, here, if I can click on these screens, look. I'll see if I can move across the screens. I'm not sure I can like this. Oh, here, we'll swipe it like this. So it's telling you what to do. Take a photo of the front of your driving licence. Scan your face with a selfie camera. This is your biometric ID, guys. This is your biometric ID going in here. Hold your phone above the BRP, so that's on your passport or driving licence. It's already got something you can scan, and that will automatically detect who you are in the chip on there, the RFID chip. So that can be scanned by your phone. For future reference, other people can scan that with their phones as well. Okay. And that's all the screens I can see on here. So let me just go back to the previous page if I can. So it's the first time I've used a system like this. Let's see if I can go back on that screen there. Okay, so now I wanted to have a quick look at the reviews, what people are saying about this. So we're going to click on see all reviews here. Okay, and I'm going to click on most recent, just for sake of argument, just so you're not saying it's out of date or whatever it is. Okay, so the 4th, this was yesterday, the 4th of October, Control. Completely agree, they're saying that. Somehow this was installed by our friendly North Korean dictator Kim Jong-Starmer without my authority, easily deleted, screw the government. I did not appreciate the government spyware being installed on my phone without my permission. Okay, spyware. App installed itself without any notification. This is on Android, guys. This is on Android. These are reviews that are being left. CBF, even explaining why this is a bad idea, you'll all find out soon enough. Okay, so people are wising up to this. They're wising up to it. Breach of privacy, uninstall from your device, stop digital ID, stop control chat. Changing HMRC tax app I've used is sneaky and misleading. This is a violation of common law. We do not consent to this at all. Okay, so you get the message. People are pretty pissed off about this, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. And I think that it's an egregious overreach of government authority. Now, I'm not going to say that these things are installed on people's phones by the government, because I think that we just looked at that big long list on the other page of all the government services that are available here on this page here, and so we'll go back to that again. So these are services. There's a big long list of services on here already that people are having to use it for. And so I'm not going to jump to conclusions and say that the government has installed this app like some people are doing. I think more likely that they've had to verify their ID for something, and people didn't know actually what it was. It was convenient, it was nice and simple, and they had to do one of these things. I've heard recent reports today through some Facebook posts I've been reading that people have been asked for it for their driving licence renewal, for their car tax renewal, things like that. For DVLA, you're getting on here very quickly. There'll be all kinds of things, but make absolutely no mistake. No, this is ID card by the back door. Absolutely, no. Avoid using the one login system. There are paper-based alternatives. We can do what we did before. They have to make provision for us. They have to allow us to be able to submit things where we haven't got access to technology. Not by going to the post office and signing up for the app anyway, but actually by sending things in the post. We have to step back against this. We have to say no, because this is the ID card system. This is what they haven't been telling you about, and this is what Tony Blair's son, Ewan Blair, and his contracting company Multiverse has been going around local authorities in the United Kingdom, allegedly, training local authorities in how to use this software. Now, some people have said that Ewan Blair is behind the ID card scheme, and his company's going to get the contract for that. I have found no evidence to support that, and I can't say whether that's going to happen or not. I have seen other things that are saying that that Palantir, the boss of Palantir, which is a major US company in this digital space, has turned around and said, no, it's not for them. And good on him. He's seen the state of public opinion. He's seen the state that's going to happen. And I think this is a route through, guys. This is a route through to stopping these companies doing it. Now, we know that Larry Ellison, a great friend of Tony Blair, gave Tony Blair Foundation $257 million recently to promote whatever they're doing. That he's also the chairman of Oracle. Oracle, if you didn't know, have just taken over the American arm of TikTok. So they're right in there with the American government. They're right in there with everyone, all the elites. But Larry Ellison, aka Oracle, they are being lined up potentially for this ID card scheme. But what we can be doing is actually contacting these companies, stopping using the services of these companies that are supporting this system. If we start boycotting, and if you're running a company, start finding another systems user that doesn't use Oracle or doesn't use the systems that's supporting ID. Because as a company director, and I'm a company director myself, they are coming for us now. They are saying from November we will have to provide digital ID through one login to remain company director or have your company closed down otherwise. You can't start a new company already without going through the one login system. I haven't looked in detail. I need to do some research on that really soon. But we have to find alternative ways. I will not be using one login to verify my company information. I will not be doing it. So I'll find a different way. I'll find an alternative route through this. But I will not be using one login for it. And I encourage you, as company directors yourself, and I'm sure some of you watching this are company directors, but I'm encouraging you not to go down this route. By the way, okay, so far so good. So we've covered Keir Starmer's announcement. We've covered the petition briefly, 2.8 million signatures. And we've covered the second strand, which I talked about here. So the first strand is an announcement. The second strand is this one login service and one wallet through the government system, which is a replacement for government gateway. Now the third strand, which I'm going to come to in just a second, is actually the UK Children's Schools and Welfare Act, the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill, sorry. It's going through Parliament at the moment. The Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill is a digital ID system for children. This is the third strand. From the day your baby is born, they will have an ID linked to the NHS number. They will have their NHS records, their school records, their healthcare records, their social care records, and everything that ever happens to them logged on this one database, which will be tracked straight into digital ID cards, which they're talking about lowering the age to 13 already for this. So let's just watch this little short video.
At the heart of the bill is something that sounds simple, but is deeply controversial. It gives local authorities the power to override a parent's choice to home educate, even if the education provided is entirely suitable.
So I'm just going to interrupt that already. Okay, so this is giving the local authorities the power to override parents' decisions to home educate. Now, we've had a long-standing ability for many decades now to be able to home educate our children. Now, the primary responsibility for children's education, whether your children are at school or whether they're at home, it rests with the parents, not with the state. Okay, this is about a fundamental shift of power between the state and the parents. And this is where the state starts taking control of your children. So I'll just watch a bit more of this.
Why? Because the authority believes school would be better. This is brand new territory. For over 150 years, UK law has respected one key principle, that parents, not government officials, decide how to educate their children, as long as the education is suitable. But this bill changes that. It allows the government to say, yes, your home education is good enough, but we think school would be better. So no, you can't educate your own child. This isn't just an amendment, it's a seismic shift in who controls a child's education. Next, the bill introduces new restrictions on a parent's ability to withdraw a child from school. Let's say your child is in a special school and you believe they do better at home. Or imagine your family is going through a safeguarding inquiry, maybe for something minor or even unrelated to education. Under this bill, you will now need official permission to home educate. And the
So again, I just want to come back to this. You'll need official permission to home educate if your child's got special needs. Now, as it stands at the moment, no, you only need permission if your child's in a special school with a SEND statement or an EHCP. And they can still, it's very difficult for them to say, no, you can't do it. This is changing all of that. This is saying, that if your child has special needs, this is a major reason many parents home educate, including myself, is that the children have got special needs of one sort or another, and that the school system just doesn't fit. It doesn't work for many children. I've home educated my children over the last 25 years nearly. It's something I've greatly enjoyed. The children have greatly benefited from. We've really had some good experiences through that. But this is changing that. This is shifting the balance of power yet again from the parents to the government, and the government or the local authority or anyone, any social worker or anybody linked to their ID can make a record and change that. So just watch a bit more of this video and we'll carry on.
local authority, they can say no, even if they fully agree that your home education is suitable. That's right. Even if your child is thriving at home, even if the learning environment is safe, structured and tailored to their needs, the government can block you from making that decision just because they think school is in the child's best interests. Let's talk about school attendance orders, or SAOs. Currently, these are issued when a local authority believes a child isn't receiving suitable education, either at home or at school. But under the new bill, that standard changes.
So again, I just want to come back into this. The existing laws under Section 7 of the Education Act, say that an education is suitable, has to be suitable for a child's age, ability and aptitude, according to any special educational needs they may have. And that there's no definition of age, ability and aptitude. We don't have to meet national curriculum standards. We don't have to follow the system in how it educates children. But we do have to prove to the local authority, if we're asked to, that the children are receiving a suitable education, according to their age, ability and aptitude. This law already exists. There's already safeguarding laws that exist as well in relation to this. And some of the high-profile child abuse cases that you've heard about over the last 10, 20 years, these are children that have been known to authorities already. These are where parents have stopped the children going to school, and social workers have been involved, schools have been involved, police have been involved, and the children have still ended up dead as a result of system failure. ID card and this system will not stop that.
A local authority could issue a school attendance order even if your child's education at home is proven to be suitable. Why? Because again, they believe school would be better. Once that order is in place, the burden falls on you, the parent, to prove that your child would be better off outside the school system. This reverses decades of legal precedent. Until now, parents simply had to show that the education was good enough. Now, you must show that it's better than school. It turns the law completely on its head. The bill also introduces something called the Education Provider Register, and this could reach into nearly every part of a home-educated child's life. Under this proposal, anyone providing structured learning to a home-educated child must be listed. That includes scout leaders, church groups, music tutors, sports coaches, even grandparents helping with reading. Each of them must have their name, address and hours of instruction recorded on a government system.
Well, I've got to stop it there because it's really, really important to get this across. Okay, that many of us who home educate, we would not seek services that are being reported back to your authority. We would not go with people that are doing that. Not because we've anything to hide, not because we want to be against the system. As we said, we have to provide a suitable education for our children, and we have to be able to demonstrate that when the local authority asks us to. But we do not want to be tracked and monitored by local authority about what we're doing and be judged. And this puts a massive onus of responsibility on service providers. My children have done things like Spanish classes, dance classes, science lessons, maths lessons, English lessons, gym classes over the years. We've done various extracurricular activities that parents have organised together, and the most knowledgeable parent in the group will lead a session and teach, say, baking, for example, or numeracy, or anything you can think of. What this is doing is saying that anybody providing those classes or those sessions to home-educated children must, by law, provide a register to the local authority or to the government if required to do so. Now, this is a massive, egregious overreach again of state control of parenting on our lives. This is a massive overstepping. And like this guy just said, in this video, we will have to provide an education that's superior to the state one, which arguably many of us do or have done already. Maybe not in the ways that people might think we have, might think matches the system of schools, but we know for a long time that schools are not providing children with the skills they need for life in the 21st century. They're working on a Victorian system, they're training people into jobs that no longer exist, teaching them skills that are no longer relevant, they're doing things that are no longer important in the lives of people, particularly the advent of AI now. But this is changing the emphasis. I'm digressing again slightly, as you might have guessed. This is changing the emphasis. It will make it more likely for children not to go to these classes, or for these classes to be held secretly, inverted commas. I know that I would not, no matter what the law says, give a list of other people's children to the local authority. I wouldn't record it. I would not record it, and I would not give it to the authorities under any circumstances. And that might put me on the line. It might put the parents on the line. I don't know. But I work by the principle that if the parent gives me authority to do something with their child, that's all the authority I need. I don't need authority of the government to do something with that child, and the government is not going to get a record from me. But I'm trying to swap to another video now because you may be wondering why all this affects you, and I've just paused this on here. I'm just going to pick this one up very quickly. This is a Children Wellbeing Schools Bill Explained by Civic Clarity UK. It's a slightly annoying video because it's AI generated. But let's just press play here.
The national curriculum, even if they previously had freedom to teach their own way. So, why does this matter to you? If you homeschool, you may need the council's approval before continuing. If your child attends an academy, that school might lose its independence and have to follow government-approved lessons. The bill also introduces a consistent identifier, a kind of tracking code, for every child. This could be shared between schools, the NHS, and social services.
Okay, so this is really important, guys. This is really, really important. This is an ID card for children. There's no two ways about it. It's dressed up as something else. It's dressed up as child protection. It's dressed up like these things always are, as something for your benefit. I can assure you it's not for your benefit and it's not for your children's benefit. That these... imagine your child goes to school with a bruise because he's playing football and he banged his head on the goalpost. And the child goes to school and he can't remember what happened, and the school records that on the system as an unknown injury possibly caused by the parents. They then report that to social services, and then that goes to the NHS or to the doctor. That's a mark on their record. That's a mark on that record. It will not go away. It will not leave the child, and it will not leave the parents. It will be linked to the parents' IDs as well, and we can guarantee that will be linked to the parents' IDs when you have your digital ID cards. This will not leave a child. This will be on their records forever. And we know that social services, particularly the Department of Health, the schools, the NHS, they fail to pick up genuine abuse when it's happening, and they misrecord and misreport things as abuse when it isn't abuse. And we know this is happening. And it happens all the time. And so this is again, you should be concerned about this. This is a third pillar of state control, of managing your family life, of the whole ID system, of the ID card, of the one login, and the schools wellbeing and family bill. Sorry, the children's wellbeing and schools bill. That's also going through Parliament right now. And so this is the three strands coming together to create a digital prison, a digital dystopian future, where every action that ever happens from the day you are born till the day you die is recorded on a centralised computer that can be accessed by anyone in authority, from the police, social care, workers, nurses, schools, anything, you name it. That will go to private things like for insurance purposes. It will go to travel. It will go perhaps onto your social score if it gets to that point. Anything that's ever happened will be recorded. And that's just, it just isn't okay. That's not the way we want to be living our lives. I'm just going to continue this video just for a moment.
Some parents worry this means their child's information will be shared without their knowledge. And if you're a parent of faith, this raises big questions. Will your values still be respected? Will you have a say if the national curriculum includes topics you don't agree with? The bill doesn't remove your rights, but it gives more power to the state and fewer protections for parents who want to opt out. There's no clear mention of religious objections. There's no easy opt-out for moral or conscience-based concerns. In short, if the local authority disagrees with your choices, they could have the power to override them.
So I'll just repeat that. If a local authority disagrees with your choices, they could have the power to override your choices, your decisions, your right to be a parent. Now, how many of us have disagreements with our teenage children when they're growing up? How many of our teenage children say, we hate you, you're this, you're the other? How many of our children have sometimes gone to school and said, oh, no, Daddy threw me on the sofa the other day? When you're playing a game, you're playing jump, or whatever it was, you're playing catch your kid. You know how it goes with small children. And say, oh, my daddy threw me on the sofa. That gets reported to social services, the police get involved, that child has a mark thing, on their record. You have a mark on your record. It could affect your future employment, it could affect your jobs, it could affect your money when this is tied to your bank account, etc. And just go back to one login, that is tied to that as well. Okay, so let's just play a little bit more of this video and I'll move on to the next subject.
It has many parents asking, is this the beginning of more control over how we raise our kids? This bill is not law yet, but it's moving forward. Now is the time to pay attention. Talk to your school. Contact your MP. Speak with your church or parent group. If you found this video helpful...
Okay, so that's saying things you can do. I think writing to your MP is a really important one. No, it's a really, really important one. And there is yet another petition up for this. This is the Withdraw the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill, currently on 55,000 signatures, not as many as the 2 million that the other one's got, which I'll come back to that one in a moment. But this one, no, is equally important as the ID card bill. And I cannot stress this enough. This is your children's future, your grandchildren's future. It affects everybody you know. No, this is not about the well-being of children, despite the fact that's in the title. This is about monitoring, tracking, controlling your parenting abilities, your child raising abilities, imposing the state on you at any given point. And we know time and time again that the state's given a bit of power and it encroaches on that and encroaches on it further. And it takes more and more of your liberties away. Don't forget, we live in a common law country. It's very different to the rest of Europe. What does that mean? Britain and the British Empire countries live under a common law system. That means that everything is legal unless it's expressly prohibited by law or Act of Parliament, statute, whatever you want to call it. Okay, whereas the rest of the world, particularly Europe, Singapore, Estonia, the other countries that talk about ID cards, the rest of the world work on a reverse system. They work on a system that everything is prohibited unless it's expressly allowed by government. So that is a total reversal of what we have. And this is what our government is trying to impose, but worse. So do we want the government to be the arbiters of what we can and cannot say, do, think, act, think and feel? No, we really don't. We really don't want that. So it's really, really important that we stand up to these things. Now, I'm going to come back to these two petitions because, I'm not a believer in petitions. We know that this is like asking your prisoner to release you. We know the government's the one that's trying to do this. These petitions are controlled by the UK government and Parliament. That the government, as in the case of this digital ID one with 2.812 million signatures on it, is being completely ignored. Which brings me back round in a full circle. But what these petitions do, it unites people together. And I have to say, I take my hat off to this government. The Labour government, I take my hat off to Keir Starmer. You've done something really, really impressive, guys. You've done something that no one else has managed to do in my 50 years of life on this earth. I've never seen a government being so successful in getting so many people to hate it so quickly. I've never seen a leader, Mr. Starmer, be so despised by so many people in such a short space of time. You've successfully managed to coalesce every political party against you with this ID card bill. You've successfully done something that's never happened before. You've united 97%, according to most polls I've seen recently, of the population against you. It's just after your farm taxes and your bedroom taxes and your inheritance taxes and all the other taxes you're going to do in the next budget and all the things you've done already. You have succeeded in coalescing everybody against you. So this is what this does. You know, that this 2.8 million people that have signed this, no, you're not alone, guys, when you're feeling pissed off about this. You're not alone. You know, this is about 5% of the adult population in the United Kingdom. You know, this is only the people that bother to come on here to sign it, they know about it, they've seen it, think it's worth any effort doing it. We know petitions make no difference. You know, but what it does do is show strength of feeling amongst the people. You know, and politicians are sensitive to strength of feeling amongst the people. You know, and they will do anything they can to stop that from happening, which I'll go into in another video another time. However, okay, I want to go into this because we're going for quite a long time in this video. I want to go on to now this response to this government petition. Okay, it says, so 2.8 million people said they don't want it. The government's response was, we will introduce a digital ID in this parliament to help tackle illegal migration, make accessing government services easier and enable wider efficiencies. We will consult on details very soon. Okay, so 2.8 million, 5% of the population have expressly said no. 97% in most polls I've seen are saying no. The government is saying we will introduce digital ID in this parliament to tackle illegal migration. It's just a laughable thing. You know, that it's not going to happen. You know, that illegal migration will still remain illegal. The only way to stop illegal migration is to put the Royal Navy out in the bloody English Channel and put the boats there to send the other boats back. That's how you're going to stop it. You're not going to stop it by farting around with stupid legislation and penalising the entire British population like this. Okay, so let's quickly announce. So the government has announced plans to introduce a digital ID system which is fit for the needs of a modern Britain. Okay, we have ID systems that fit for the needs. We have a passport, a driving licences, NHS numbers, national insurance numbers, utility bills, bank statements. We have all these things already. We don't need any more ID. It's not about ID, guys. It's not about ID. Okay. We're committed to making sure people's everyday lives is easier and more secure. Okay. Okay. So this is where they're going to catch you. You're going to use the one login system because it's easier. Because it's simple. Once you've used one login, you're basically giving your ID to the government, and that is going to be your ID card in the future. You know, over 1 million people have downloaded this app that we just looked at just now. Over 1 million. This is just on the Android store. I don't know how many have downloaded it on the Apple store, but no doubt a lot. Okay, but you are voluntarily signing yourselves up for this ID if you're signing into this one login system, and they're going for the fact it's easy. So they're going for fear on immigration. They're going for fear on children's well-being. They're going for convenience on the simple login systems. And every country around the world that's trying to introduce these systems is doing the same thing. They're introducing unified login systems because they know that people will buy into that for their convenience. And I'm imploring you to say no, to not do that. I'm really trying to implore you to do that. Okay, we also want to learn from the benefits of countries that have digitised government services for the benefits of the citizens. Now, they keep banging on about Estonia. They've banged on about Estonia for a long, long time. You know, Estonia is a former Soviet state. It's used to being colonised. It's used to having basically been run by dictators for decades, for centuries, for a long time. It's not used to the kind of freedoms that we've had. You know, we are not Estonia. We're the United Kingdom. We're England. We're Ireland. We're Scotland. We're Wales. Okay, we do not need a digital ID, a digital government system that is monitoring and tracking everything that we're doing. Okay, so you can read the rest about all this yourself. It says currently when a UK citizen and residents use public services, start a new job, or for example buy alcohol, they often need to present an ID card or something to physical documents to prove the things about who they are. Okay, so this is already saying that you're going to be required to present your digital IDs to buy alcohol, to use public services, to start a job. These are just the things they're starting with. You know, at the moment, we just flash a driving licence if you want to buy alcohol, or in my case, you know, I flash my grey beard. You know, so but they want your digital ID, and that will track that you've been to that location. Every time you use a digital ID, it will track where you've used it. It will track where you flashed it, and they will scan it, and they will know what you bought. They will know what you've had from that shop. And they will know which bank account you're using to pay for it with. They will know, because it's all going to be tied together. It will be. And they're already talking about it. Okay, this is saying it's being both bureaucratic and creating a space for abuse and fraud. we don't care about flashing a driving licence now. It's a one-time thing. We show the person doesn't picture it, it doesn't record it, they don't record it, they don't do anything with it apart from just look at it and hand it back to you. It's not stored, it's not tracked at the moment. It's not about convenience. It's already not difficult as it is. Okay, that fraud with these things, well, you're not going to stop fraud, people will get more inventive with it. Okay, so this includes known issues with illegal working and modern slavery. Now, that is not going to stop the digital ID card. Now, things are already illegal or remain illegal. You're not going to make criminals become not criminals with a digital ID card. And as simple as that. Okay, this is already, they're giving a whole load of reasons here why they want to do it and how it's going to benefit you and how it's going to make your life simple. And it's just a lie. It is just not true. I can't state enough how important it is. I'm hoping the microphone is working here. I've been talking for a long time. Is the microphone working? Yeah. Sorry. So I can't state how important this is that we resist this at all these different points. So we've covered the 3: ID, one login, children wellbeing bill. They want ID across the system. And somewhere, here we are. It says, okay, this ID card, this is not a card, but a new identity card. Sorry, let's start again. This is not a card, but a new digital identity that are available free for all citizens. And saying it's free, we don't want it in the first place. We don't care if it's free or not. We don't want it. To all legal residents aged 16 and over, although we will consider through consultation that this should be at the age of 13 and over. Okay, so already, it's only been 9 days since this was announced, and already they want to introduce it to children. Okay, they're already talking about that. This will link straight into the records from the Wellbeing bill. It will link straight into the one login records. This is exactly how they catch you. So don't for 1 minute think this is a benevolent, this is a good thing, this is a thing that you or your family or your children need. No, for your future, you will live in effectively a dictatorship. If this goes ahead, this will be linked to central bank digital currency, CBDCs. It's already being talked about. Tony Blair has already said he wants to do this. And Tony Blair might not be in power, but he's above the governments in the power structures of the world now. We'll get into that a whole other time. But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. This is how they're getting to you. So by the end of this Parliament, employers will have to check the new digital ID when conducting a right to work check. Okay, that'll be okay for immigrants. Okay, that'll be okay. But you and I and most people watching this are British citizens. We do not need a right to work in our own country. And if I don't have an ID card, which I'm not going to get one, does that mean I can't work? Does that mean I have to stop doing my job that I'm doing? No. What happens? What happens? Say it's not going to be mandatory. You're not going to have to carry it. So for clarity, it will not be a criminal offence not to hold a digital ID. Police will not be able to demand to see a digital ID as part of stop and search. Okay, they say that now. That will change. I can guarantee that will change. They'll create a reason for it. Just like they're doing the demonstrations now, these anti-Palestine demonstrations have happened over the last few days. Just after this heinous attack on the mosque. Just after that, they will say that there's a reason for it. They'll find the reason. Just like they're saying now that they want to ban demonstrations or repeat demonstrations because they're inconvenient. They'll find the reason. They will. Okay, so this has gone on now for already far too long. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this video up. I do appreciate your time, energy for watching. This is my first video I put out on this channel. Now, if you got to the end, well done, bravo, thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. So it's a brand new channel, I'm just getting going. It would really help me. I'm going to do more of these videos. I'm really, really passionate about freedom in this country, about standing up for civil liberties, about standing up for my children and for my grandchildren and for their children, etc., etc. If we want to enjoy the kind of freedoms that you and I grew up with, it is incumbent upon us to you and me to talk about this, to have a discussion, to stop complying, to stop this thing in its tracks. No, we can do it. We have to believe it, and we can stop this. We're not going to end up in a totalitarian dictatorship. We are going to maintain in the same free country we've always lived in. We are going to do it on our terms, not theirs. We are the people, they are the government. The government works for the people, not the other way around. Okay? Right, thanks very much, guys. I'm signing out for now, and I'll see you on the next video.